I'm an occupational therapist, OTR,
And I'm Lauren, and I'm an OTA.
and we are school-based therapists. And today we wanted to show you how to downgrade a craft. A lot of times when I walk into a classroom, I see pretty complicated things happening. This is just an example of, say, a classroom craft activity that I might see. And the students that we work with are typically in special day classes, and their cutting skills and their arranging skills are generally not at this level. So I just want to show you how I would help make it more successful for them. So I'm going to start with my anchor paper, my background paper. Again, I like having a background because it gives an anchor for all the little pieces and it makes everything look nicer. And when I look at something like this, I try to look at it in terms of developmental shapes. So we have maybe a large circle or an oval here. I can just take my half piece of black paper here, and I can draw on it with chalk if I want. So one thing I could do is make this into just a large circle by drawing 4 corners and just having my student cut the corners like this.
And don't feel bad if when you're first starting out, if you look at a project and you can't figure out how to see the fundamental shapes or to break it down. It takes a long time and it's still difficult to do.
So I would glue this on, and if I do want to make it fancier, a lot of my students are working on just cutting lines and half circles or curves. So I'm just going to make a line. And now we've got just a big circle and a big line. And I'm going to glue that on while Lauren tells you how to make the clover.
So we're going to look at this 3-leaf clover, and basically we're looking at these rounded shapes. So I'm just going to use a circle tracer, have the student trace it using their helper hand, because we're still modeling a lot of these. So we're going to go around, we're going to do our circle, and then we're going to cut each one out.
If you don't have some pre-made, I made these tracers out of cardboard, you can improvise. So here's my pen container. I can just put this down here, and then I have a nice 3-dimensional object that my student can put their hand on and then trace around. Here's another little cup that I use. I could just use that as well.
And once you have one cut, you can use that as well. So don't make it more complicated than it needs to be.
Cutting through 2 pieces of paper at the same time also would give a student a little more resistance, help strengthen those fine motor skills. So that could be another way if they're fatiguing of cutting multiple items. You can just work on strength and have them cut through 2 at once.
And it also helps with compliance. If they are getting fatigued, you could say just one more, but really they're doing 2.
Oops, I put a lot of glue on there.
Okay, so we're going to go like this. Oh, I need a little bit more. Thank you. And then we have all these extra scraps. You can just kind of take that and have them just kind of cut it down. And there's our stick.
Nice. Now we have
or stem, I guess, not stick.
Stick, stem. We have some coins here. You can have them work on cutting circles if that's one of their goals. But if, again, if you're trying to get things done, if that's too much, you can just use a dotter for the circle coins. So I could put some dots here to show the student where I want them to dot. And then they can go ahead and dot right on top of that. They can do a lot or a little. When you're dotting, I try to encourage students, I try to get into the rhythm of down, up, down, up. Because when they're banging away on the dotter like that, they're not really learning that targeting skill and pacing as well. And then we have a rainbow here. We can do the rainbow by coloring. We can use different crayons. We can just work on making lines, connecting dots. We can also take tissue paper, which is fairly easy to prep. You can rip it, have the student do some ripping, scrunch it up. And the key to not having a huge mess is to give them 1 or 2 dots at a time. Then I'm gonna just have them put something on each dot, and then I'll give them more dots and more paper. So then you're getting a nice three-dimensional craft that's gonna look really fun, but is a little easier than maybe repetitive cutting and having to line all kinds of things up. When you're doing glue dots, you're lining things up for them. So this is a simple way to turn maybe a more complicated craft into something that some of our more challenged students can do pretty easily.
And feel successful in it. So that's always a goal.
So thanks for watching.
And I hope you click the link below and subscribe. See you next time.